Hello everybody. Super good morning to everyone. Kevin Chan here, usual 7:30 in the morning, and today is a lovely Tuesday. Today on the 23rd, right? So again, almost reaching the end of the month of September. Really quick, huh? One blink of an eye. Another one more month is almost ended right today, and we've just published the forecast for the month of October. Yes, today we just publish it. Go to Substack and sign up if you want it. So by the way, if you sign up right now, also it won't send to you. You have to read it in Substack. Right, so yeah, today promise you all a very light topic, right? So yeah, period 9 has become a light topic already. For those of you, who have attended like millions and millions of period 9 related topic, so how was the information in relation to what is happening right now? I think right now we have a better grasp of what is basically happening, and we can have a bit of a discussion on what is the actual big picture here in period 9. So we'll be talking a little bit about history, talking a little bit about economics. We're going to talk a little bit about everything under the sky. So again, this sort of topic, it's just for you to open up your mind a bit, change your perspective a bit on how you see things, right? So don't just everything, just because we are a Chinese metaphysics channel, right? Not everything need to be just Chinese metaphysics, right? So I will interlace everything, with the a bit more modern twists into, right? So that everybody understand a bit, and you will see the wonders of how our forefather has already put this on a predictive table for everybody, right? So come, I can see Boon Guan is in, Peppo is in as usual. Stuart, good morning to you. So is around, PJ Court, Jocelyn, sun shining, heck, John, you're around, right? So welcome everybody, right? So how has the day been? Right, so great day here in Malaysia. We just reduced our petrol price again by a great 6 cents. Okay, right. So on the 30th, which is at the end of this month, beginning of next month, citizen of Malaysia is able to use their IC to get further subsidies from the petrol. Right. So right now our petrol is $2.05 for the RON 95, right? So it's gonna be on one ringgit and 99 cents. So there's a 6 cents difference. Okay, the happy stuff is done already. Comment. Talk about the comment. I'm gonna wait for me to talk about the comment. Wait lah. I thought end of this month the fella is gonna reach here, man. Yeah, right. No, Elon Musk. I mean, that's the 3i, right? 3i. What the hell you call the fella already? But Elon Musk has been advertising it as the what we call your alien invitation. First contact. Okay, right, so come, let's go in and take a look at the period 9, right? So just before going in, right, so now tell your period 9 is actually a very exclusive things for Feng Shui, right? So exclusive for Feng Shui, and even inside the Feng Shui, it is the San Yuan school. Is the San Yuan school only. If you talk to San He school people, you tell them period 9, right? They slap the hell out of you. So actually there is no significant thing period 9 for Bazi. There's no significant thing period 9 for Qi. Right? So no significant thing means that there's actually no change. Right? So Qi chart is still plotted in period 8 and period 9 exactly the same method, which means there's no change. Your Bazi chart also plotted in exactly the same method in period 8 and period 9, so which means no change. Right, so but for Feng Shui, there's a lot of energetic changes. So you can see that, especially Xuan Kong Flying Star, the way that you plot the chart in period 9 is different from period 8 one, so which means that there is a change. Right, so now sometimes you want to see whether certain thing is relevant or not relevant to the particular area. You need to go and do this sort of observation. Right, so if there's no changes, mean that it's not relevant. Right, so unfortunate to burst the bubble to you all, right? So but anyway, right, so does it, right? So now we can take a look at historical change, right? So now for you to know that whether this thing is of any significant one, take a look at historical change, right? That would be the easiest one, right? So today we're gonna go into a topic that's a bit more economic historical a bit to understand the period 9 itself, right? So to understand period 9 itself. So short version, in a feng shui school, no, don't care which feng shui school, no need. Okay, in a feng shui school, they have separated the time period. Every 20 years, there's one period, right? So no, it's Project Blue Beam. The comet is not dangerous. Don't care whether the project is dangerous. The comet is dangerous or not dangerous. You still have to pay your loan. Right, so this is a wealth heavy person talking. Okay, right. So now back to this one, right? So they have separated the years, the time frame into every 20 years. Every 20 years belong to one separate time period. So there's 9 period, 20 years one period, 180 years one cycle, blah 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 whatever. So right now we have progressed into the period of the 9, right? So progress in the period of the 9. The big thing is that it's gonna be different, no? Right, so it have to be different, right? So what is the different? What is there to concentrate about? Then we can take a look at historical, the change. Then we will start to understand the differences, right? So come, let's take a look at historical, the change, right? So long time ago, right? Long time ago mean that the feudal period, right? The feudal period, farming is one of the biggest activity. Now farming including hunting, please. Right, so no, don't have to like, oh no, what about those people who the hunter gatherer thing, right? This has been the longest ever period, right? So what is significantly important during this particular time is basically land ownership, right? So whoever owned the land means that the empire, you want to call empire, you want to call the king, whatever, right? So the royals, you want to call it, they own the land, right? So they basically own the land, and people basically work in the land. So this is during a period whereby everybody is basically their own employer, right? So there's no such thing as employment during that particular time, right? So you are in one corner of the world, right? So you're in one corner of the world, you have a piece of land, you basically is isolated from everyone else. You hunt your area, you plant vegetable or plant whatever it is that is in particularly your area. So you are pretty isolated. Everybody basically work for themselves, right? So this is the very traditional, right? So the people there understand that if you want better yield, you want to be able to hold bigger piece of land, you need head count. And where does the head count come from? Make babies, yeah. Babies is basically free labor, right? You want 3 worker, you give birth to 3 babies, no? And the babies grow up, they become your free worker. Sad thingy, right? So there's no such thing as employment back then, right? So there's no such thing as employment. So we have been in that, right? So that's basically the agricultural era, right? So the agricultural era, please, we're not going to look at the cave time era. It's the agricultural era, right? So where agriculture is the main thing, where land ownership, you planting on the land, right? So that basically, so whoever own more land, landlords, emperor, this kind of stuff, they are the basic fella who has power, authority and money, right? So you guys understand that. Then we move into what we call industrialization era. This is where machines come in, right? So introduction of a steam engine, right? So introduction steam engine, so you got your machinery coming. So you can start to see the change right now, right? So this is where employment started. So if you guys are ever wondering, when the employment start during the industrial age, right? So now again, I've skipped one part of it, if you can see, right? So now the wood basically, is period 3, period 4, right? So now this is not gonna be nice like 20 years, it's gonna be long shot one, right? So please don't get too much, because if you start to understand the calendar system that is basically run there, right? So each of the hexagram, trigram, actually each of the trigram actually different years. So I actually have a topic that this, maybe I'll dig it out one day. I'll share it to you all. Very, very interesting in terms of calendar calculation. Yes, we got a lot of calendar system. Okay, right. So now we move into the more industrial age, whereby machinery, so basically it's more metal driven, right? So from agricultural driven, which is wood driven, into more a metal driven side, right? So this is where the industrialists, right? So industrialists, right? So start to attract people from the farm. They tell you, hey, don't work in the farm now, come over and work inside my factory, right? So this is where employment come in. Correct. It started the entire employment cycle for everybody. We have seen the industrialization. So industrialization is actually pretty new, right? So it's pretty new, probably about 300-400 years, right? So about 300-400 years. So we were in the agricultural era for like the longest ever period, right? So longest ever period was in the agricultural line. Then we move into this particular industrial line. So the change from industrialization from that is that the land is not as valuable anymore. So what happened is that the ownership of machinery, if you own a machinery, that is where money is basically being generated. So less of money is being generated from farming already, but it's the machinery right now, right? So if you're a machine owner, right? So if you're able to own machine, then you are the big one. So then it raised the industrialist law. So last time it's landlord, people who basically has land, the emperor, thingy, right, whatever. So right now you got the industrialist. So industrialist is basically a person who again, I don't have royal backing. I don't have any royal backing, right? So but I'm somebody who basically is a bit more smarter. So I own certain machine. Right, so I own certain machine, but the machine need human to operate. So that's why they started employing human. So now we are actually stuck in this particular. A lot of things that we have right now is actually stuck in this particular era. I'll just tell you first. Like for example, a lot of time I tell people, taking attendance. Your company. Sorry, for those of you who are in HR who does KPI one. Taking your staff attendance. That's a very dumb thing to do. Last time when you are in industrialization, when there is a conveyor belt, the fella, come in to work on time, stand on the conveyor belt and start touching the thing, right? So because the conveyor belt will bring you a fixed amount of work per whatever unit it is, 10 unit. So if that 10 unit come to your place and you are not there to work on the 10 unit, then 10 unit of productivity basically just drop lah. So mathematically it makes sense, right? So if you are fully on the job for 8 hours, so the number of unit that the 8 hours supposed to move is set, So if you're full 8 hour, then you got full productivity. If you do OT another extra hour, then you produce extra. But today in office, does that work? Right, so people can come in, and then tag in their attendance like 9 o'clock sharp. But then, go for have coffee lah, scroll the Facebook. They can be completely non-productive until lunch. So what's the point of having their attendance? If you're HR, you're still using the industrial way of measuring productivity, then die lah. Does it make sense, right? So so a lot of things. Education also is the same. Education in that particular time is that you need people who are literate enough to operate the machinery, but not smart. The education is actually for that, right? The education is actually for that particular purpose. I think it was started in Russia. I don't know, Russia or German. I forgot Russia or German. They are the one who basically started the education system to train people to operate machinery. And our current education system is still stuck in this. So education system is actually to produce worker. It's not to produce entrepreneur, stuff like that. It's not like, I don't agree with it. It's okay, you don't agree, I agree with you then. But you have to think about this, right? So sometimes you have to take a look at it, right? So then we move into this particular era, which is period 8, where you start to see that in the building, right? So you see how we start with land, right? We start with land, then machine. Then right now the machine need to sit in a building, right? Right, so machine should sit. You see, land is very valuable. If you own land, you're great, right? So then land become not very thingy already. Then you have machine, right? So you have machine because you concentrate people. right? So you start to hire people, and ask, don't work in the farm, you come over, you work around the machine, right? Yeah, no, machine is the greatest, around the machine. So when you have that time, then you start to find out that, you need to house the machine and you need to house the people. So the housing, building become valuable, right? So because people are starting to concentrate, so you need to house them, or aka jail them. Now, to me, it's the same conceptualization, whether house them, jail them, right? So which means that you are bound by locality. You start to see how you are basically bound by locality already, right? So you're locked down in the area that you're in, right? So you have a lot of what we call fixed asset. Fixed asset means that you can't move it. So, but this is the popular one. So now period 8, all of us are very familiar with it, right? So this is the period that we are living in, at least for me. At least for me, right? So right now we go into the period 9, earth, whatever, fire lah, spelling also wrong. Okay, right? So that's supposed to be fire, by the way, right? Not earth, right? So forgot to change the spelling, right? So but anyway, right? So now we move into the fire period. So what are the expectations when you move into fire period? So can you see that we actually move from one different elemental importance to another different elemental importance? Wood, there's one earth that I skipped, which is period 5 with a massive amount of war. I skipped that one. You guys know that we went through World War I, World War II, right? That was before the actual industrialization went for both. After World War II, only industrialization went full speed. Okay, right? So no, it's basically I just skip that period 5 now, right? So but never mind, right? So we just go through this particular thing. So you can see that every single time you change, right? So now this basically established something for you. See, changing period actually relevant or not relevant, because we have went through this. We went through all of this. Okay, right? So now again, the length of the period, don't care first. Right, so you cannot chun like 20-year change, 20-year change, 20-year change. I'm just telling you, now we are going through another change. So when we're going through another change, then the what we call rough description, asset class that is going to help you generate income is going to change, right? So from farming, which is owning crops need land, owning crops, wood, to metal, owning machine, to owning building. Right, so right now, what are the stuff that you need to own? I think this is more important. Right? So don't care of what previous thing, wherever this gets stuff, don't really care about it. So now we are going to be talking at what are the stuff that we are going to be important. So now question, are you owning those stuff? So if today, if your brain is still harping on trying to own a house, own housing, not much of a use, right? So if you are still thinking of trying to own machine, no use. You're still thinking of trying to own the what we call the crops, also not much of a use, right? So you can see it's a different game already. So right now, what are the things that you're supposed to own in period 9, right? So that's what we're trying to discuss today, and we're trying to logically go for the conclusion, right? So don't just period 9 fire, I need to start a fire engine. Don't. Right, by the way, that's how the market basically go. So I'm just adding a layer of economic logic behind it. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so now before that, told you already, the ownership model is pretty simple. So this one you guys already know now, right? So again, long time ago, crops was very important during agricultural time, right? So crops is very important. If you own land, then you can plant crops. All right, then you're set. Okay, right? So then thereafter, we go into the a bit more industrialized age. Machinery become very important, right? So if you are a machinery owner, factory lah, so you're a factory owner, you're called an industrialist, right? So like Henry Ford owns car making factory. So yay. Then you got your Thomas Edison, he owned the electricity generating power plant. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, right. So the reason why Thomas Edison was successful is not because of light bulb. It is the electricity distribution line. General Electric is actually owned by Edison. If you don't know, but right. So that's it. Right. So now last time we got your Edison and also Westinghouse. So one is AC, one is DC. 555. All this kind of thing, but right? You can understand, right? So no, it's basically machinery or ownership. Last time you own machinery, right? So and then after that is basically buildings, right? That houses human and that houses machinery. Real estate lah, right? So real estate, right? So now all of this you guys seen already, one. Right, so and they correspond to generally when we talk about the the different period, the wood period, the metal period, the earth period. Right now, so we're going into fire, right? So now you can see that there is a trend that you can establish. You have seen it happening, right? So right now is the question is that would you want to continue to follow the trend? So are you ready for the trend, or are you gonna be again looking at this particular thing and just pass it and then one day come back there, oh, I should have last time, right? So yeah, fire is digital asset, correct, Brian? Fire is basically you want to say digital asset or imaginative asset? Right, we will talk about the asset that basically will fly, right? So now the question is whether you are building your foundation to own this sort of asset or not. Right, makes sense, right? So then we'll talk about the rest of the phenomena which is happening right now that you can right now clearly see, and then you judge whether it makes sense or not, right? So you can still get yourself stuck in the olden day, right? So again, I tell you, a lot of things is still stuck in the olden day. Like for example, the education is still stuck in the industrial age. Ancient industrial age. Ancient industrial age. Right, so we are still stuck there, basically, right? So yeah, education is still stuck there, right? So it is not moving to the area of really fire area type of things, right? So now later we talk a little bit about that, right? So but this one, understand, right? So now so you need to understand income. You need to understand income, right? So now this is the what we call traditional, I don't want to call it an income model, but this is how household obtain income on a very current traditional basis. So it has evolved into this particular sense, right? So let's see that the household income, how does it manifest itself, where does it come from? So if we take a look at typical household income, at this current moment, we are transforming into a new model, right? So some of you may look at this and just say, oh, is this the Robert Kiyosaki ESBI model? Robert Kiyosaki ESBI model basically come from this sort of model. So he just managed to package it, make it easier to remember, right? So it's actually, if you take a look, it looks similar, it's a similar, but this is more grandfather than his system, right? So we got about 60% of the household income actually come from salary. Salary means that either you call it wages, somebody else's pay you. Basically, you work for someone, right? So now again, this is the reminiscence of the industrial age, right? So industrial age is where salaries start to come in. Before this, there were no such thing as salary. Everybody was freelance. Freelance means that you work for yourself. Now freelance here include you're an entrepreneur, right? So your freelancer contract is basically you deal direct with customer. That you provide a certain skill, usually skill set, right? So you think that you do something for someone directly and they pay you directly. It's not through a factory. Okay, it's not through a factory or not through an organization, right? So basically you are your own boss, right? So you see, before this, the entire system was actually a freelance system. So everybody plant their own vegetable, right? Makes sense, right? So freelance today, if you take a look at it, they go about 15%, right? So 15% of people basically work for themselves, right? So it's in the ESBI, then this would be the amalgamation of business and also self-employed, right? So the salary would be called the employee, right? So the employee, right? So yeah, we are majority. If you take a look at any country, anywhere, majority of the people, money basically come from being employed, right? So they create money and remove barter system. Right. One argument basically is that, right? So money was created. Probably one day, I will also go into talking a little bit about, money and how money is fake, but never mind, like that one long time ago, right? So then AIDS is basically what you call, government aids. Now everybody is under government aid also, oh no. So like Malaysia, just there recently, our petrol is heavily aided, our petrol, at least in Malaysia, right? So everybody basically is a beneficiary of government aids, right? So government aid basically make out of about 15% of household, right? So like for example, Malaysia, there's a lot of control item. Now Malaysia always come out with, I can talk about Malaysia lah, other country I don't really know too much lah, right? So now Malaysia, our inflation, right? So we just always calculate this thing called inflation, or some of you may call it the consumer price index, CPI, right? So consumer price index, so we always say that our inflation is very low, it is controlled at about 2 to 3%. But when you go out to the street, right, when you try to order a food, right, it doesn't look like that one, right? You can see that the food price basically go up, your daily expenses, everything basically go up. But why did the government tell you that, inflation is basically under control? So if you really drill down into the inflation calculation, although it is using an international model, but if you really take a look at it, a very high percentage of all the items that is included in the calculation are control products. Control product means that, the price is not allowed to change. Right? So like for example, your rice, mostly when you talk about calculating consumer price index, grocery is a very big bucket. Grocery means that, your vegetable, your rice, your flour, your sugar, your salt, all these are basically control product. So you have a big bucket of control product. Of course, you look at it, it look like it is not moving because government doesn't allow it to move. But when you take the control product and then you go into the transformation into a new product. So this new product is not controlled. So which means Zafan store, the Zafan is not under control, but rice is under control. Right? So rice price is flat, but Zafan price is not flat. So that's why, the CPI, if they don't change the way that they do calculate, it's actually very bad for people, because, you're always living in a La La Land, Disneyland of, fake data. Right? So, but anyway, government is about 15%. This is all the subsidy that you can ever think of. Like for example, education. Now, education, like primary, secondary school education, is basically free. If you have been taking your government for granted, primary, secondary school is basically free. Right? So everybody basically can reach a certain level of literacy, which means that you can read stuff. Right? So without much financial headache. Right? So everybody is basically is able to gain education for free. Right? Why is that? The teacher need to be paid, the place need to be paid, right? Everything need to be paid. Who's the one paying it? Government is the one paying. Right? Government is one. Don't say that they have never done anything. Right? The road that you are driving on very happily, right? So those are also built without anything, right? So you didn't pay for the road, the construction of the road didn't take out from your pocket, right? So no. So now, where does the money from the government aid come from? No, you guys know, come from taxation, right? But the government, and again, we are not going to discuss on the corruption of the government. Although you and I know, but you roughly you understand that household income, there is a portion of it is basically supported by government aids, and this money basically come from taxation of the rest of the tree. Right? So then you got 10% which is investment. Right? Inflation is fake, right? The calculation is based on rent, the weather, and also mood of the estimate. Right? If you drill it down on it, basically what Heck said is pretty much, right? So pretty much, right? So but anyway, right? So then there is investment. Investment means ownership of asset. So when we talk about investment, mean that it is something that basically generate income to you while you are not directly participating in it. Like you buy a share of a company. You're not participating in anything in the company, which means whatever that you say, the company basically don't really care about you. You just put the money in, and then, you know, every now and then, you know, they give you back, right? So like for example, you know, a rent, right? So, you know, rent, you know, so you own a building, you rent it out to someone, you hardly do anything, right? So a lot of time investment, they go by the name of passive income, right? So again, passive income, passive means that you don't really actively do, right? So like freelance, you have to produce stuff, like salary, you have to finish the work. But when you talk about investment, it's basically buying asset that generate a certain amount of income over time, right? So that's basically about 10%. So this make up the entire what we call household economy. As such, it is that what we have understand. Rough estimate, all right? So rough estimate. So how does the change is going to work, right? So in period 9, how does the change going to work? By the way, from the agricultural side, so, you know, so it's just go back a bit, you know, from the agricultural side, you guys know that, you know, the freelance was the major, right? So there was no such thing as investment. Again, there's no such thing as investment, right? So the freelance was the biggest portion, you know, there was no such thing as salary by then. Got a little bit those people who work for the emperor basically have a salary itself, right? So there's government should be pretty big back then, right? So because, you know, most of the thing is basically run by government, then the income thing will shift. So this is basically the finish shifting the current, right? So that's why I said that, you know, we are still a bit stuck in the industrial age, right? So we are still quite stuck in the industrial, a lot of things, right? Like the reminiscence of this salary thing, right? So start to understand this, because we need to understand this, then, you know, we need to understand the change, then only you need to understand where you're supposed to move in the period 9. You need to be, you know, how you're going to move, right? So then, you know, we're going to talk about how income is basically done in current, right? So the industrial age, the income is basically done through a bell curve distribution, right? Bell curve distribution means that, you know, everything is on average. A lot of things is basically on bell curve one, right? So everything basically run on average, right? So which means that in the olden day, you know, you just need to be average only, that's it. Competent enough to get things done, don't need to be wow, right? So, you know, your income is basically pretty much covered, right? So, you know, so you are very clear with, you know, how does the income go. You don't need to be too hardworking, right? So you just need to produce enough, then, you know, you got salary, right? So, you know, it's like working in the, what we call working in the what you call that, production line, working in the production line. You don't need to be, you know, hardworking. The work come, you finish the work, you get paid the salary itself, right? So like difference is that, you know, if you're very junior in it, then you get paid a bit less, then, you know, as you become more senior and you become more competent, you get paid a bit more, right? So now again, this system is very familiar, but this system is disappearing. So if you are thinking is that, you know, I just need to be average to be able to make a living. So right now you start to see, right? I thought you are going to say government sector, no government sector, right? So, you know, it doesn't work anymore. So if you take a look that right now, the system, right? So by the way, this is called bell curve. The one that's sloping down, which we are in right now, is, I think, is called a power curve. Power curve or a focus curve, I forgot what curve already, right? So long time never study. So you can see right now is that what happened is that the top 10% earn almost 90% of the income. The lower 90% have to fight for the 10% of leftover, right? So which means that if you're not the top 10%, is actually very difficult. So being average is no use already right now. You actually cannot earn for being average. Last time you can still earn, right? So that's why, you know, last time you can still see that, you know, our parent time, right? So, you know, we are smarter than our parent. By the way, we are smarter than our parent, but how come we are not able to earn as good as a parent? By the way, you know, as it goes down, right, the lower generation don't have the earning capacity as our generation, right? So people just start metaphysics career, side career, right? Long tail distribution, right? So, you know, it's basically this, right? So now, so if you need some proof, you know, you just take a look at Google. 90% of all the search is basically on Google, and the rest is, you know, the others. You can see, right? So, it's basically very monopolistic, right? So, and the rest of it, you can see also it's the same. So the rest of the industry, you will see that there's one or maybe two or maybe three fella who is like ultra big, right? So the fella will be commanding everything, then the rest, you fight for the rest, right? So which means that, in this particular new model that we are shifting into, if you're not the best of the best, then your income have a bit of a problem. But the good news is, you can be the best of the category that you have created. Right? Last time don't have, right? So last time category has already been created. You just have to plug yourself into the category and become average. You're good. Your life is basically quite okay. So right now, when you go into period 9, one thing you need to know is that when you go into period 9 right now, there is no concentration of people anymore. Very obvious right now that you can go anywhere they want to go, right? Especially after the pandemic. As long as you got a laptop, you got an internet connection, you can basically work anywhere. There's no more locality restriction. Locality restriction doesn't work anymore. So you want an asset that's basically on the spot, is basically there's locality restriction. But right now there are no locality restriction. Right? So I've just spoken to a couple that basically work in Singapore, but they stay in Johor. Great lifestyle, I tell you, super great lifestyle. I've been telling a lot of Singapore people is that, you might want to just work in Singapore and, come live in Johor. Lovely lifestyle. Okay. Right, so you can see, take a look at the locality doesn't matter anymore. Right, so as long as, you can be productive, you can be productive anywhere. And it's a very important thing, right? So period 9 fire, basically there is no more land restriction. Fire, there's no more land restriction anymore, right? So it's basically a flying thing, right? So so just now I told you that you can be like, for example, let's say that you want to be a fitness trainer, right? So I've been talking to a fitness trainer. So fitness trainer, all right? So fitness trainer. So fitness trainer, you probably is very average, right? Fitness trainer, because there's a lot of fitness trainer around, right? So but right now, you can create a category. I'm just gonna do male fitness trainer, right? So you can be a higher level fitness trainer in the male category. Right, so but then I said that male fitness trainer, male fitness trainer, I mean, I only train guys. Why you want to train guys, not train girls, right? Don't care lah. The guy like to train guys, let him train guys, like, don't care, right? So male fitness trainer, but in a male fitness trainer category, there's still too big. So what about male fitness trainer who is executive busy, executive busy, right? So executive busy, right? So now in this particular category, you can be better, you see. Yes, yeah, right. So you can basically be, top. So initially, when you're talking about I'm a physical trainer, you might be average, right? You might be average. Then I change it to fitness trainer, which is specialized in male category. Then I can be better, right? So probably you are better than 60%. So right now I throw in a third category. They are busy executive. So now you are at the 80% line. Right, so then you say that I'm a fitness trainer. Then I am specializing in male and especially a busy executive, and I only do those people who want to go on stage and present themselves very nicely, because if you have a better, fitter physique, right, you look better on stage. Make sense, right? So so I just concentrate on fitness for male, and then it is for the busy executive who want to go on stage. So you see, very specific, right? So I can niche it down to very specific, and in this particular group, you are the top 10%. That's it, right? In period 9, you can do that. In other period, not able to, because period 9 again, free flow, fire, free flow, everywhere you can go. Fire basically can go everywhere, right? So it's radiance, right? So include cultivating communities group. Yes, Eclipse include that, right? Had just announced the back to office. no, back to office is not gonna work, I tell you. It's not gonna work, right? So now can see or not? In period 9 allow you to do this sort of stuff, in other period not able to. So you can always create category for yourself and you can be top 10%. So when we talk about top 10%, don't think of I need to be it's like top 10%. You can categorize yourself as in in the market term it's called niching yourself down. So if you want superior income, you need to do niching. So which means that you cannot hit on everything. You have to be laser focused. Period 9, laser focus, right? So you need to be very focused for the hits to accumulate. So do that right? So you basically do that. So there's gonna be a period of specialization for a lot of people, right? So you cannot spread yourself too thin. Fire when spread too thin, no nothing, right? So now let's take a look at where is the distribution of income gonna come in, and we're gonna step in a little bit of the what is happening around. So let's take a look at this, right? So this is going to be how the new distribution will probably come in. Probably, yeah. So it's transforming towards it. You can see that the salary or wage is basically going to be cut half. Why? AI law? Right? Yeah, AI is basically going to murder half of the job. Right? So you can see that industrialization is requiring people to do repetitive job. That's where industrialization come in. They need people to go and do repetitive job. So now tell me, this repetitive job right now is better to be done by AI, machinery, robot, or do you think human is better? AI, machinery, robot definitely is going to do a way much better job. And this because why? AI, machinery, they don't have downtime, they don't complain. They are okay with doing repetitive job. So first of all, if the job that you are doing is basically repetitive job, you're gone, right? Are there still job that require human to be around? Yes, right? So no, there's going to be job require human around, right? So now what happened when half of the income is not going to be, right? So then where the income is going to come from? So it's going to distribute itself to other places, right? So first of all, a lot of the people who couldn't find job, will start their own business. Now, these are the what we call the entrepreneur, right? So you will start to see that there are going to be more entrepreneur type of people offering service directly to the people who need it. Right, so when you are in a employment, is actually indirectly providing service to people. So right now you are directly providing service. So you basically know your client, right? So so if you take a look at that, right? So I would say that I would highly suggest that you build out your entrepreneurship skill set, right? So it's required, right? Interesting that period 9 promotes freedom to work anyway, and yes, cultivate community group. It seems like opposite. So work from home, have to more time to hang out, right? So now if you can see, right? So government aids also need to increase, right? So now this is actually a problem, increasing government aid, because a lot of those taxation actually come from salary, income tax, right? It's basically come from that. Right, so now where does the additional money need to come from? The fellow will need to tax somewhere else. Understand or not? Because the main income that the government had, which is the 60% income tax that they have, right now is slot half. Half of the people is going to lose their job to AI. Right? Yeah, AI is not going to be paid salary at all. There's no salary for AI. Right, so unless there's suddenly an AI union, and right, so so where's the income going to come, right? So they're gonna be that the government is gonna try to tax the freelance. They are trying to, so now I'm going to say that try to tax the freelance, but the freelance community can run away from the country. You try to tax me, I chow. Makes sense, right? Now I can travel between different countries with relative ease. You are not able to lock a person down right now. It's not as easy as last time. Last time very easy to lock people down. Right? So then next thing is that they will try to tax asset. Because asset cannot run. The difference between asset and this, right? For example, if you invest in a certain company, the company would have a company. You can't run away from the company. I can track the company, right? So yeah, right. So if you have a real estate, I can track your real estate, right? So you see, these are stuff that you cannot carry, but your skill set, you yourself, you can carry anyway, So again, it's very difficult to stop a person who know how to make money out of a laptop and also internet connection. Government cannot do much in terms of trying to chase after you. So that's why I say that, you better have that skill set, which is the freelance mentality and skill set. Right? So, yes, the government would try to, now they are starting to try to tax asset already. Right? Asset is no more safe haven. Right? So because certain people have just accumulated too much asset. So they need the money to basically run stuff. Right? So you will really start to, they're starting to discuss a certain thing called universal basic income, like UBI. Right? So it's like we will try to pay everybody a certain minimum amount, so that you don't die. Yep. Right. So where does the money come from? Right? I know it's either they've lost the salary earner money, right? So it's either they try to go after the freelance, which is going to be a more difficult task. Again, freelance mobile can run around. So that's why I say that period 9, you better be able to run around. Right. So if you are still expecting on salary, by the way, that 30% is going to be taxed even more. So can see or not, the government increase it double. Then the investment side and the salary side, this is the only two that basically doesn't have mobility to run. Then I'm going to tax you double because I'm going to cough out double. So I'm going to tax both of you, see which one you're going to hit better percentage. Freelance, those that know how to run, are going to get scot-free. Right? Singapore also trying to get Grab drivers and delivery riders to contribute to CPF, or government CPF reserve will reduce. They're correct. Right? So they just put some extra zero into their main computer, print more money, call it inflation. Right? So Hack seems to know how the current what we call economy work, right? So you know how to work. But that's a different discussion. Will the type of investment remain the safe stock, bond, land, metal, or more into local versus international? So now again, right, that eclipse that particular question, you need to roughly understand money first, right? So it's a very long-winded topic. I don't understand money. It's a very long-winded topic, right? So, but again, we just concentrate on what is the ownership of period 9 first. But roughly, you understand, it's shifting. The percentage of income right now is shifting, right? So now again, this shifting happen every single time there's a change. It's shifting. Okay. Rice government roll out SST on many goods which were previously exempted. Again, need money, kind need money. Right, so now this is just exclusive for Malaysia. I just tell you first that I'm just dumbing everything down very easily, right? So we all Malaysia have this GST SST thingy. The problem with GST is that the old government, when they collected the GST, they did not pay back the amount that they need to pay back to company. So the government actually still owe a lot of company a lot of GST tax money. So that's why they need to freeze GST until they figure out how to pay them back. So some idiot collected the money, did not pay back and spend it somewhere else. Right? So don't want to call it corruption, right? Whatever it is. And so that account need to be froze. So what they do is that they revive SST, because SST is a different account than GST. Understand? Right? So they need the money from SST to do the GST part, right? So so if they don't have the money to do the GST part, if they still do GST, they will die. Okay, start to understand. So GST is actually a better system. It is a better system, but it's not very well managed when it's passed down to Malaysia. As usual, we are rubbish at managing things. Right, so that's basically it. So now you see, when you talk about taxation, no matter what label you put on it, it's basically the same thing. Whether you call it the income tax, like the joke that is basically going around is that you pay income tax, then you pay sales tax. Why? Right, I've already paid you tax by income tax, right? You tax me when I receive my money, then you also tax me when I spend my money. That's basically double taxation, right? But tax twice. But why? Right, so it's like, oh no, this is input tax, that one is output tax. Don't care, it's basically taxation. I already paid you. Right, Right, so if this is the model that's basically going through, and you know that the government burden of giving aids is going to go up, you know, the government will need to crawl money from people, right? So the only place whereby, you know, you could probably be a little bit more safer for, you know, not paying the stupid government for, you know, spending this, is basically to be freelance, exclusively mobile, not attached to anything. Just like fire, you can float anywhere you need to float. You basically don't really exist. Non-corporeal entity, right? So you can go anywhere, right? So you can earn money from, you know, any country, right? So like right now it's like that, man. You can earn money from any country, right? So whether you want to do or don't want to do, right? So no, yeah, you say, oh no, cannot, I like this, I like that, and you like to complain, then continue to complain. Right, so there will be a group of people who can basically earn money anyway. Right, so can see, right? So now, what are the things that you should own? Right, so in this particular new period 9, if you want to catch the wave, how long will the wave be? You know, probably not 20 years. Probably not 20 years, because again, I'll tell you, fire, usually the problem is that it's short. Right, so now, what are the things that you're supposed to do? Right, so of course, you know, again, selfless advertising for own self is really, you know, you want to get in touch with me, you know, go join the Telegram community. Awesome community, right? So a lot of things to download. So right now my office is converting a lot of this stuff into PDF for you to download, right? So again, so as long as they get certain thing done, you know, I'll throw it in for you to download. Please do it, right? So then, you know, you got your monthly newsletter. Like today was published the forecast for 20 October, right? So, you know, if you want all these forecast thingy, so again, go and join the Substack, you know, so they get it, right? So, and of course, you know, we got our community, right? So just now somebody start a community, right? So when I do discussion, you know, post certain things, you know, feel free to do so, right? So this is just for your convenience on how to get in touch with me. Telegram, Substack, Facebook, all of them also have the PM, right? So private message function, you do private message me. Oh yeah, FengShui consultancy freelance. Yeah, FengShui consultancy is basically freelance, right? So now let's take a look at, you know, what are the assets that basically make sense during this time. So first of all, you can see is basically, you know, intellectual property, which is ideas. Again, please don't get yourself locked down by terminology. Right, so when we talk about intellectual property, you know, oh, money needs to be registered lah, this lah, that lah, you know, so patent lah, all this kind of thing. All this kind of thing basically is under the big umbrella of ideas. Right? So, you know, in period 9, ideas supreme. Right? The supreme thing is basically ideas, you know. So how you can, you know, create certain stuff, create stuff out of nothing, fire. Right? Create stuff out of nothing. Right, so it's transformational. So fire is basically a transformational energy. So if you take a look at fire, right, anything that put inside the fire basically change. Right, so you put water into fire. So what happened? The water changed into water vapor. Change. You put wood into fire, the wood changed into dust, or you want to call coal. Right, so it changed. You put metal, the metal melt, it changed shape. You put earth, the earth become dry and arid, it changed shape. And fire itself is constantly changing. So can you see that, you know, ideas, the ability to constant change basically is it. So do you have intellectual property? Question for you. Are you somebody who continuously create intellectual property? So what I'm doing right now, what you're looking at right now is called intellectual property creation. Right? So, you know, I got many videos that I've deleted. But never mind, right? So you can see I can create an unlimited amount of video, right? So I'm the person who created all these videos, so I can continue to create video. I don't have any problem. Can I create this video and in a different country? Awesome, right? So no, yeah, right? So I can, you know, produce all this video in a different country, no problem, right? Can see, right? So if you have the creation ability, so, you know, if you are somebody who has, you know, very good creative ability, no matter which country you go, right, you can always solve problem, creation problem. People will pay you, right? So, you know, agree, right? We create, people take, right? So yeah, you know, we do a lot of creation, right? So that's one thing, right? So the next thing that, you know, you can take a look at is basically data. Data is going to be very valuable. Right, so for one of the things that you guys know, AI, you know, so now AI, the one that you are using is basically you are using AI, but to train and build an AI, you need massive amount of data. Massive. So whoever have the data is going to be the person who is going to be very valuable. So you just take a look at, if let's say that I want to train a nurse, AI nurse, how much nurse data do I need to have? Then only the AI can figure out nurse. Billions and billions of data. Right, can you see that the AI cannot be created without data? Right, so the chat GPT that you have currently using, without much gratitude, is created through feeding millions and millions of lines of literature into it. Without the millions and million lines of literature, the AI wouldn't be able to figure out how to build sentences. Right, the graphic generation AI that you are currently using, right? We are using, we are not building, right? So it's basically done by feeding millions and millions of graphic that is available online, right? So that's why there is a huge fight right now, in terms of copyright. So you guys play around with this nano banana, right? Nano banana right now, which is the newer thing. China already have one which is by ByteDance, TikTok one which is even more awesome. Right, so they are all basically being trained by didn't pay copyright, so stuff like that, right? Basically stuff like that. You guys know that to build the AI you need massive amount of data. So whoever have the massive amount of data basically command a lot of real estate, right? So now this one I'm gonna tell you, do you own data? Okay, now tell you the thing that you guys download. Right, so the one that I changed to document and let you all download one, download that time, you put in your name, then download. Those are data. See, I'm also collecting data. Right, you can see I create content, I collect data. And so when you join my Telegram community, there is also data collection. When you join the Substack, it's also data collection. When you join Facebook, it's also data collection. All of them is basically data. Okay, do you own data? Your handphone list of friends also is data. I just tell you first, your handphone list of friends is also data. Right? So, but just what's the scale of the data that you have? You need to own data. Right? So now what scale, what sort of data you own, it's all up to you. If you 24/7 only know how to watch Netflix, then you got a lot of Netflix data in your brain. Whether can, right? So we can collect data from Sifu. You are also collecting data from me. Right, so yes, AI is our partner now. I blur to be. Right. So that's basically data, right? So now question, do you own data? Then after that is basically coding. Coding is basically apps and software. Right, so if you own apps, if you own software, right? So now this is the part that I currently don't own. I don't have any apps, don't have any software. I just work with apps partner, like Taipei Astro. Taipei Astro is one of apps partner, right? So like Taipei Astro is an app, so it's code. Right, so if you have codes, it is also valuable. So again, say, wouldn't AI be able to code? Yes, and also no at the same time. Right, AI is able to code everything that has already been coded, but AI cannot create new stuff. Yeah. AI cannot create anything new. Right, so if no, AI cannot create. No, AI cannot create anything new. AI can only work within the framework that has been fed. So data that's been fed, all this data that's inside AI is superior in accessing this data. Super superior. Cannot fight. Okay, human cannot fight with that. But human got one thing, they can surpass the box. Human is the only one that can surpass the box. Right? So coding, we are talking about surpassing the box. So if you have coding skill that is able to surpass the box, right? So there's going to be a lot of, like for example, we have not deal with any alien, right? So yes, 3-eye atlas, 3-eye atlas, or is it read as 31 atlas? No, never mind, I'll never check, right? So if the fella is really an alien race coming over, stop by, say hi, hello, right? AI won't be able to deal with the alien. You need a human to deal with the alien, right? So because this is beyond the knowledge frame of what we have right now, right? So it's something very new. AI won't be able to. But whatever that's already been created, AI will be code, right? So we have code. Then we are talking about media, media, you know? So now social media is just one form of media, right? So now this is where community come in. Do you own a community, you know? Right, so now we are right now, you know, our own broadcaster. We are broadcasting, you know, every single day, right? So in the period of 9, if I can't see you, I can't find you, you are invisible. True one. So that's why a lot of people that is basically, you know, in consultation with me, right? So they say that they want to start a business, they want to start this, they want to start that. The first thing that I tell them is that, you know, you open up your social media. Do you look like somebody who is selling this thing? Yeah. First question you need to answer yourself, right? So, you know, it's like, you know, that particular friend, you know, who want to, you know, start a business, and you take a look at your social media. It doesn't look like you're selling that thing. Like for me, if you take a look at my social media, it's all Chinese metaphysics. If I tell you I'm selling Chinese metaphysics, right? Duh. Alright, no, my media is all Chinese metaphysics. I have another one which is all food lah. Alright, so now again, now why do I have all food now? Because I want to do excursion ma. Right, so food can be easily integrated. You see, I'm integrating Chinese metaphysics, foodie, travel together as a package, excursion package, because I want to do that, right? So my ultimate dream is, you know, to teach a class, go to a place, teach a class, then go for tour. That's how I see the world lah. That's what I want to do. So a lot of things that I do is building towards that direction, right? So, you know, I probably got about another 20 more years of life, enough for me to, you know, go a lot of places, right? So temple visiting also, you know, any excursion this year, this year no lah, I've got a few more months only. Next year, right? So it's not too easy, right? Doing too many things at the same time, develop income will backfire. It's better to focus on one field, one direction. There more, you know, you focus on basically one direction. So all of this probably, you know, need to converge, right? So now, do you own, for lack of word, do you own a community? Do you have media present? Just put it in a way. Now, last time media present means that, you know, you need to go on TV, you need to go on. So right now, media present, you know, you can just go on your own YouTube channel, go on your own TikTok. You know, it's very accessible, super accessible. Right? So, you know, do you have all this? Now, these are valuable assets for period 9. Right? So if you are somebody who is searchable, so you have media presence, searchable, can find you, you are valuable. If you're somebody who have data, you are valuable. If you're somebody who know how to codes, you are valuable. If you're somebody who can create, you are valuable. Right? So, you know, my dream is fulfilled. Not yet lah. There's still a few components. Right? Woodland, one of the bigger component right now is that physically not fit. To travel, very taxing. Very taxing, yeah, really, very taxing. Right? So, no, it's not as easy. It's not as easy, you know. So just to do recce itself is like, right, difficult. Right? So it's not an easy thing. Right? People see it as, you know, oh yeah, go holiday too, very easy. And no dear. Right? So nah. Right? It's not as easy. Right? So now these are the asset or the, you know, money making thingy that, you know, you should concentrate yourself on. You know, now ask yourself lah, among all these 4 things, you know, which one is the one that you have. Right? So now I definitely don't have any code at this current moment, right? So again, everything is, you know, at this current moment. Okay. Right, so, you know, yeah, you know, so now talk about creative, you know, I'm producing content, right? So you can see that, you know, I'm in line. Talk about data I have, right? So, you know, data, you know, I got, you know, data also is 2 sides. The Chinese metaphysics data, right? So, you know, that's basically is in the construction and building. So you can see that every time I share is basically, you know, the Chinese metaphysics data. Right, so people data and all this particular data I have, but not as massive as, you know, the other company, but at least I have, right? So then, you know, the media presence, you know, I also have, right? So, you know, community building, I'm doing all this kind of activity. The only thing that I'm currently not doing is basically the coding part. Right, so which probably one day, you know, when I'm rich enough, I might venture into it. Right, so I might have some coding product that I can do. But right now, not yet. Right, so right now, not yet. Give me different perspective about period 9 and planning ideas, right? Right, so now this is basically period 9. right? So this is big picture. So big picture. So right now you ask yourself, is that are you transforming or moving to this particular direction? If you are not, then you'll be missing another wave of stuff for so yeah, right? Right? So I've already missed the period 8 thingy, completely miss, right? So if right now your brain is still thinking about buying property, nah. Right, don't do it. Please. Okay, right, at least not yet lah. At least you need to wait probably another 3 more years. Right, yeah. All right. Yes, right. So certain places you got, and with the declining population, our population declining, you guys know our population is declining. No one dare to have baby anymore. Right, and the dumb government is like, oh, you have a baby, we'll pay you 1,000, extra, you crazy one, 1,000, not enough for my daughter to eat for 1 month. All right, so now guys, this is basically the big picture for period 9. Again, take it as a reference. Right? So take it as a reference. For you is that you need to sit down and question yourself, whether you are building yourself towards this particular direction. If not, you'll probably miss the boat. And by the time you reach the historical point whereby you have your realization, it could be a bit too late already, right? So then we'll move into a different period, then we will have a different discussion on what are the asset class there is, right? So now again, all of this, is it difficult? No, it's actually not difficult stuff, right? So these are not difficult stuff, right? So period 9 is happen to be one period whereby there's a lot of transformation happening. So when you talk about a lot of transformation happening, a lot of things that you would think that previously not possible one is very possible, right? Especially in getting rich in period 9. Getting rich in period 9 is extremely easy, right? As soon as you start to understand money and how fake money is, it's going to be extremely easy to basically making money is actually not a big topic, right? So unless you are still locked in the industrial age, right? If you're still locked in the industrial age mentality, then it's going to be very difficult, because why? The period 9 is going to completely destroy the industrial age mentality. Fire counter metal, and metal have to transform, right? So which means after period 9 already, the entire place is going to be changed. A lot of your old belief not going to work. Okay, cool. Right, so this is my piece of creative content for you. Right, by the way, if you listen to economists, right, so which I spent some time looking at economy, you will see these are the things that they are keep on communicating. You will start to see right now, they are gonna try to tax the rich, right? So they try to tax the rich, and they understand that the rich will run away, but the rich people asset cannot run away. You cannot carry the home run to a different place. It's also increasingly very difficult for you to carry a company to run away. I mean, physically, if you have a company, it's also very difficult, right? So they're going to tax this stuff, right? They're going to tell you they're going to tax, because why? Government burden is going up. They need to crawl money from some places. So, they will tax more on the people who are still on the ground. So if you are somebody who can run away like me, right? So I can basically run to any country and operate. I can give Feng Shui consult in any country. Right. Yeah, right. So I can go and earn money from any country. I can give you Bazi consult from any country, from anywhere. Right. You start to see, right? You start to see that the particular thing, right? They even tax vacant house. Yes. I think Japanese is taxing single person. Absurd. How do you tax single person? Go and check Japan. Japan is taxing single people. If you are single, you get taxed. What? It's a crime to be single? Yes. Right, they're taxing everything. Okay. Notice a lot of people are attracted to things on the surface. Yes, period 9 is a very surface period 9. So that's why it's very surface. Look are important, less priority than quality. Yes, correct. Kind, you are right. In period 9, nobody want anything that's lasting. right? So no, this right. So yes, so yes, so you guys go and check out, Japanese single text. Go and have a read about it. Japanese taxing single people. Right, from rewarding you for being together right now, they are punishing those people, stick and carrot at the same time. I reward you for being together, for having children, then I punish you for being single. It's a crime for being single. Right, so you guys should watch one show called Black Mirror. I don't know whether it's called Black Mirror, no, right? So there's a society, whereby once you reach a certain age, you are assigned arranged marriage, right? You are assigned a partner. Yep. Right. So it's a crime to be single. After a certain age, if you're still single, it's a crime, right? So there's an entire show there's that. So yeah. So but anyway, I know we are digressing, right? So but this is what I'm gonna leave you. Creativity, data, coding, media. Okay, right? So you need to basically create such a package for yourself, and it's totally creatable. Right, so like for me, creativity is the part that's a problem. So again, excuse, no HO, no EG in my parts chart. So I'm actually not a very creative person. Okay, all right, time to get into fillers and cosmetic surgery, or at least makeup. No need lah. It's clips. Now with the advancement of you guys know that Meta just launched the Meta display, right? So it's called Meta display, right? Meta Ray-Ban display, right? So whereby you can have a computer screen. It's gonna be possible one day that everybody gonna have a contact lens that have screen. With that coming in, you don't need any filler, because why? You can just activate. You can just activate screen filter. Done. No more filler, right? So start selling property before it's too late, right? So Jenny, it's not start selling property before it's too late, right? Right. So that's it, guys. Right. So happy for you all, and tomorrow let me see what topic we want to bring on. Right. So that's it. See you guys. Bye.